What's good, YouTube? And welcome to being neck deep into ban list season. People just gotta have it, but if you're not wading through all of those crazy ban list predictions and timings when it's going to drop, all that good stuff, you might notice a lot of prices are changing pretty drastically on the market. Aratama, for example, here, a spirit, it's apparently doing something over in the OCG to cause this further spike in craziness. Well, people speculated on it with the new spirit monster coming out a while ago. We now have that out of Cyberstorm Access, and it chilled out for a bit. This is the common theme in the graphs, right? Oh, it's announced, so everyone goes crazy. It chills out, you have a better time getting it once again, and then it just absolutely spikes when the support is here, especially if people feel like it's going to be real. Now, again, no reprint on this card. Hopefully Konami takes note and puts it in something like Battles of Legend, but Battles of Legend was probably already crafted long ago, so we might be waiting a while to see this reprint. OTS packs, maybe? Also, Firewall Dragon, Dark Fluid Neo Tempest is no longer a bulk pull out of Maze. Apparently this is pretty good in Mathmech and a couple other decks like Code Talkers, etc. It takes 3+ Cyverse monsters, and it is spiking heavily and pretty consistently throughout this month as a tech option, all the way up towards $10 at one point, but it's 7, 8, a lot more people willing to sell it that said, oh, this is something now, and it is a decent card. It's not a full-on joke. It's an option that you can have, and it's nice to see that. Remember, there's not a lot of ultras to actually pull in the set. There's only 10 different, but you're only getting 3 per box, meaning barely over a playset per case. And Maze, not one of the most open world premiere sets of all time, where realistically you are seeing the imports as well as the reprints carry it, yet it's still doing okay for itself. Mathmech prices are also just absolutely absurd still, especially if you want to play max rarity, but sometimes just having access to some of these cards is costly. But you can see how people are trying to avoid the gold rare all the way to $55 still for Alan Bursch, and I just don't get it. I would gladly start playing the gold rare, but do remember, you probably should double sleeve at least that extra deck with the thickness that maximum gold cards have. Also, we have Nesh at Old Genius. This is apparently a tech coming out of the Nesh camp, and it's pretty good. And the Purely Mirror, as I understand it, is kind of this way to go back and forth. And a lot of sales are going on recently. It's not the biggest jump in the graph. They're about $2, but it is a pretty upped sales rate versus the past on this card. Cyberstorm Access, the set of the hour. We've had a lot of changes from, you know, one day to the next day to the next day. We had Luluwa Lilith being the top secret in the set for a hot 24 hours, and it's fallen back off. Now you have Quim starting to spike just crazily here in the opening weekend as well, and this is the one that I thought would be atop the set for a bit. You have that goth girl kind of look to her, and then it also being a pretty darn good card versus, you know, you play a 1 of to 2 of Luluwa Lilith. I thought that Quim would definitely be there, and then Chaos Angel is kind of fighting the battle for the top of the set now, but still a lot better estimated value pulled overall with a lot of prices starting to spike. You have Peaceful Planet also going up even further as people want access to that deck, and then you have Gold Pride Better Luck next time and Rollerballer actually holding on to their price spikes from the weekend that we covered, and very, very few listings on the 100 Apple Dragon here for Dragon Link, and Despater also really sticking up around $12. So just kind of all these different clumps of like better than average value for a set that people don't want to sell too much cheaper. You have like $1 down here and there on some cards on the front page, but mostly a lot of it has gone up here, which is interesting for a set everybody said felt mid, myself kind of included. I was like, this doesn't seem great to open. Then I opened it, felt great to open, but I got really lucky. You have Blazing Cartesia here, way up in price, and it was even further at one point. Both the Starlight Rare and the Secret going up. A lot of that branded hype here. You can see absolute crazy spikes going on, and it's cooling back down just a hair, but we've seen it in this price range multiple times now. But it's really like people going and having that reaction. You got to remember, and I've said this before, it's a structure deck, so more people than ever have access to this, and we're in the WCQ season, and people are starting to try to pick what they'll go for and what's less likely to get hit on the list. You have Kurakara, Divine Carnate, really going absolutely nuts here, and it's doing well, and purely it's getting main decked. People are looking at it as an option, and it did have its meme-esque moment where, oh my gosh, you can use 2 of them in a turn, but people realizing more and more so that this card is a realistic option, especially in the TCG, and it's gone absolutely nuts, not only for the secret rare, but the Starlight Rare is starting to proportionally spike too, although with the 2 different options at this point, the Starlight almost seems like, if you have the money to go for it, the safer option versus it potentially falling out, especially to a reprint. But Power of the Elements, not mentioned on the Megatons currently, could be even earlier though in something like Battles of Legend. We'll have to wait and see. The Bestial Lubellion, remember Battles of Legend is before the WCQ this year, and it's historically not only a bit of a reprint set, but also a huge import set. Lubellion I covered on the last Market Watch just yesterday, but it's gone even kind of a little crazier and then back down. People are rushing at Dragon Link. Be aware of that if you're not. Speaking of, Dragon Synchro good stuff, people like Stardust. They love Yusei. They want to go with the flow. But XL Synchron Stardust Dragon Ultra Rare's now lowest $50 and really spiking up right now. And the Collector Rare has also been just making a rush up in price. The lowest around the 160 and quickly going up from there as well. Also, Junk Synchron's interesting. It was pointed out in my Discord. Someone was theorizing it would be like a $4 comment. I was like, no way, there's so many printings. Look at how low listings all of the Junk Synchrons are. It's getting kind of crazy at this point that there are oh so few holos. So if you're interested, I might get a holo sooner than later. Remember the 2010 Duelist Pack Collection 10, a lot of them came out with edge foil damage, so it is pretty hard to get a near mint of that specific version. And then the Secret Rares out of 5D's collection, which never got re-waved. And then you have Duel Saga, which not everybody loves, but a lot more people came around to and said that they like. The EU one really, really bends though, so I would not get an EU print of that. Looking through, it's that era from where I believe it's Maximus Crisis ends the different foiling that bends, but like Fusion Enforcers was really bad, and then some of the Zodiac decks were really bad, so you want to be aware of like certain things that happen throughout history with foiling, and Duelist Saga was one of those sets where EU foiling was terrible. Alenteo even covered it if you want to go back through his archives, that it was just bent out of the pack, and I've opened some of those packs. But back to the main point, the commons are really low quantities. You might want to get yours sooner than later using that TCG player link in the description down below, costing you nothing extra to support the channel directly for the cards you'd already be buying. I feel like all that information was relevant though. Kalute holographics are going crazy. Even though we finally got an easy access version in Maze, people love their Edison, they love their Simo memes, they love Blackwings, and yeah, holographic Kalute's going crazy once again. I wanted to talk about the 25th anniversary edition. I talked about it last time where I like it more than I thought I would, and definitely a lot more than the collector market. It's going at retail right now, which is impressive for a set out the gate. But another thing is, I talked to Tier 0 before, and they were saying they were having trouble selling it. Now they're completely sold out. I'm getting comments about, will Big 3 restock it? Will this place restock it? Will that place? No, most places that are sold out likely won't be restocking. I'll actually talk to Tier 0 about it. But initially they said they had trouble, and now it's just going there also. Remember, the EU cases have different numbers of them in them than the US cases, but when it comes down to this product is flying off the shelves, and I was worried about it sitting there until the 25th boxes would actually be there and hit. And a couple of things, I'm noticing a lot of secret rare pulls and really nice ratios overall out of the pulls for people. I'm gonna see if anybody did a mass opening that's reliable and try to get numbers from them in ratio, see if anything's weird, if old school commons are still short printed or if they're just ignoring that now. But also having those quarter century rare cards where almost every single one is like a $10 rebate even though they're scratched on the back, it is quite a product, and Dark Crisis will be exclusive to this instead of a box currently. I still think the modern cards could get re-waved down the road and hurt them, but right now I actually like them a whole lot more than I thought I would in hand. And when it comes down to it, this having that extra boost from the quarter century rares, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. It's really holding in here. And I've said legendary collections, they have 3x to 4x in price before, it might be a good hold for a bit, but you gotta remember, Konami could re-wave it at the end of the year 25th, seeing this kind of demand. So in 1 year, they could do a re-wave and kick it out as the end of the 25th anniversary collection. And they also could redo the foil way they did. They could take the criticism and go back to classic, but I have a feeling this won't be the last we'll see of these layouts, but that's still speculation, so keep your mind on that kind of thing. That's why I'm not a financial advisor. I don't know what Konami's going to do in the future, and trying to tell you what cards to get and hold on to, it's going to be pure speculation. I think I might make master sets of actually the new LOB, DCR, IOC, all these sets though. I think it's really, really fun. Thanks for watching today's video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the conversation, and let me know what you think, especially of this, because I might be on that copium, but I really like it when the collector community doesn't seem to.